Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to the Full Feature Podcast. I'm Ian, and as usual, I'm joined by Tiernan and Jack. And this week, we are going to be talking about a couple of directors that we somehow have kind of bypassed over the while. And we were just talking last week, and we thought we need to give these guys a bit of a spotlight episode. So, of course, it is the Coen Brothers, Ethan and Joel Coen. That name might not jump out immediately.
I feel like people know like the Coen Brothers,
the Coen Brothers,
but like they don't know like
specific
Joel
names.
You know?
But it will be guaranteed you'll have seen at least one of their films.
Absolutely, because they're so fucking far-ranging. Like,
and you know what I was looking up about them as well. Is these guys have been making movies since the late '80s, which is insane. When you think
it is,
yeah,
but they have a lot of
films.
They have a lot of films.
They do have a lot of films, and they have a lot of films on Netflix right now.
They do.
You have to look up Coen. Coen, and then they come up. Don't bother looking up the brothers because they're down.
Yeah, but you'll get, you'll see movies and you go, oh, I've seen that before. I didn't realize that was the Coens. We've lots to get into. We're going to be talking about stuff like Fargo, Burn After Reading, No Country for Old Men, The Big Lebowski. But before we do, Jack, let's get into some movie news.
Let's get into some movie news.
Well, we get into the topic that we were talking about.
Yeah. So big
I'm
one.
excited for this.
A big one on the Twitter sphere. But just in the fucking internet in general, was Netflix, and they fucked up basically. So someone in their marketing department decided to this French film made by this black French woman who the story is about this kid who runs into this dance group and gets liberated and feels great.
Will I read the blurb, because the blurb is super problematic.
Yeah, and Netflix decided to make it a fucking weird pedo movie.
Yeah, so anyway, Amy, an 11-year-old girl, joins a group of dancers named the Cuties at school and rapidly grows aware of her burgeoning femininity, upsetting her mother and her values in the process. Now, on the Netflix one, it mentioned she joins like a twerking.
They changed the artwork. I don't know if you saw it. If you just look it up, you'll see it. They've had to publicly apologize, but then also their social medias were kind of like pushing back, which was so weird. Like they were kind of justifying that this movie won awards, so it's okay, and it's like that's just fucking idiotic in my opinion. Just because something wins awards doesn't mean it's great. I'm sure fucking
it's not problematic.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Crash.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not necessarily problematic.
Well, let's for anyone who hasn't seen the poster, and you can literally just look it up and Google it, Cuties poster, and you'll see all the articles and controversy about it. But as I said to you, Jack, it looked like something from like Dance Moms. Or whatever that other show was.
And they changed the poster purposely because they obviously bought the rights to it after debuted at Sundance.
But they were obviously going for something controversial. Like, I don't want to see an 11-year-old or something on a poster.
Yeah, but I mean, what were they thinking?
I have no idea.
I don't want, like, I actually think the movie looks quite good.
We were just talking about it. We watched a trailer, and
the trailer looks fine.
Anyone who hasn't seen the trailer,
it's not actually a big pedo film. It's just the way it was marketed.
Go watch it. It almost kind of gives me like Florida Project vibes.
Exactly.
Or different things like
kind of that indie movie.
Yeah,
kind of
like Little Miss Sunshine almost.
Yeah, and this is the director's own fucking life that she's talking about. She's talking about the sexualization
of
young women
at a young age, and the infantilization of it.
Exactly.
That's
and
all.
sexualization in Islam as well, and like being a part of being a Muslim and sexualizing yourself.
People presumed a white person made this, and they were like, blah, don't talk about that. And then Netflix came out and they were like, actually, this woman's talking about her own experiences. So the film actually looks really good. I'll probably give it a watch.
Well, we will give it a watch.
But you know what the thing is? The one thing I will say about this is, while it has caused a lot of controversy and Netflix have doubled down on it now, and it is really embarrassing on Netflix's part because it just shows their marketing department do not give a fuck and they will do anything to market a movie. But it's going to make people watch this movie. Yeah, people are going to watch
it.
You know
like I guarantee right now, if I look up a review for this movie right now, it will have a lot of clicks.
Yeah.
Well, I love that meme, and it was like the Jeffrey Epstein picture and the Cuties picture. Like, I survived because I'm always playing both sides. It's Netflix.
Oh, it's Netflix. It's
the Epstein
they'll make movies exposing predators, and then they'll sexualize a bunch of kids.
This is bad press for Netflix when The fucking Boys is coming out.
Exactly. Let's talk about The Boys. It's coming out next week.
It is coming out next week.
Is it next week?
It's next week, yeah.
Hell.
And they also have another great documentary
this summer just
coming
disappeared.
out. Yeah, I know. It's like this. I was watching the fucking Win the other day, and I was like, "Summer's gone." Amazon have a fucking banging lineup. They've got the Spurs documentary.
Yeah,
okay.
They do, yeah.
So they sacked the Champions League final, sacked Poch, brought in the fucking notorious Jose Mourinho. COVID-19 pandemic. All the shit that happened there. It's like all behind the scenes. I watched the trailer. It looks fucking gas. Mourinho comes in and like he looks like he's very kind of like. He's either a complete arsehole or like can get on really well with people.
Yeah, and I think Mourinho's a character where it's like, okay, you can love him, you can hate him, but you can't deny he is a big personality. In the game.
He's gone a bit stale, so hopefully
he has gone stale. Since he stopped winning trophies, everyone's kind of like, shut the fuck up.
Like, I'm not one of the bottle and all this shit.
I'm the special one. And fucking,
are you though?
What way are you using the word special?
Yeah, so notorious bottler Spurs. Injuries, they'll have all the controversies that went with the Premier League this season, all behind the scenes. Their brand new stadium and everything. So that
when's that out?
That's coming out on the 31st or the first of September or 31st of August. One of them.
I thought the boys was the 4th of September. Because that's my mom's birthday.
Oh, it must be 2 weeks then. It must
2
be
weeks anyway, so the boys.
Weeks. Well, not even 2 weeks.
I have to bail on my mother's birthday.
I cannot
sit
wait.
in my room.
I cannot wait for the boys.
I'm trying to restrain myself. I've watched 1 or 2 snippets, and like there was one little clip I've seen in it that I don't know if you guys have seen.
I watched the full trailer.
I was raging. I watched it, but there was a little preview clip, and this is gonna be spoilers for anyone who's seen season 1. But they're chasing the Deep. And I think it's going to be the Deep is teaming up with them this time round because he's kind of always felt
he's in fucking Oklahoma.
He literally did he not get Me Too'd at the start of the first one?
Yeah, well, that's what I like about it because it's like immediately it throws you into this like he's a terrible guy. He's this, like
come on, like,
he's like a fucking sex fiend in like Hollywood.
Yeah.
But then they've made him complicated, and you see why he's like, he's always felt left out. He doesn't have any real powers.
Trying to save dolphins.
Trying to liberate the dolphins. So in the little preview of the clip, they're all chasing him, and there's a beached whale, and the Deep is like on the beach with the whale, and they're on a speedboat, and they just drive the boat into the whale. And it's just blood everywhere.
I want to see what happens with this cliffhanger that was there. Like,
massive.
They need to land that shit because
apparently, like I've seen one of the trailers, and I think that they're just kind of carrying on with it. Like I don't even know if it's going to take from because the main fella, the Australian or New Zealand fella, we didn't know when we were watching it. And we looked it up, and we still didn't know. But it seems like he's just kind of carrying on. There's also this new villain in it who's kind of she's a female threat to Homelander. And she was actually in the comics a male neo-Nazi.
Really?
But I actually think the show said that Homelander would definitely react worse to a woman threat. And I actually think they're dead on with
100% agree with that.
Homelander has fucking mommy issues.
Yeah.
He does.
And spoiler for season 1, he fucking burnt his mother alive, basically. The woman that he saw as his mother. Which is so weird because he was riding her and everything. So fucked up. Like, Homelander's one of the best villains ever. I love him, hate him.
I gotta watch that again. I'm actually
I'm gonna watch it again.
The thing about it is as well is like what I love when, and you're saying that they've made that change there, and when as you say they've got it so right with a character. I love when they take the source material, and then they get the characters like as a TV show, and they might have made changes to the characters because what I understand about the comic books was it was written by a guy who detested superheroes. He absolutely thought they were just so stupid, like Superman and stuff and all. So he writes the comic book about it and then how they're seen as gods. But in the comic books, it's not that they're pricks and like they're evil.
Yeah.
It's that they're just so incompetent.
And they're shit.
They're just really shit.
A bit like the opening scene where he runs into his girlfriend. Like.
Exactly.
Well, that's not like what they definitely took a much better approach with the TV show because I don't want to see incompetent superheroes. I want to see Homelander.
You want to see them as like
arriving on a crashing plane and being like, "Well, no way we can."
That's a fantastic scene. I love when he turns around and he's just like, oh, just fly under the plane like Superman would, and he's just like, what am I pushing off here? What am I doing?
I can fly, but I still need leverage. But I love as well when like a TV show or like a film, like they create a female character that's going to be a strong female character, but everyone agrees with it rather than like you're making a forced female character for like the sake of tokenism. It's kind of like we need to fill the amount of girls we need in this and the amount of black people we need in this, rather than actually like organically creating.
And the thing
characters.
about The Boys is there's a lot of female characters in it, and they're all very strong. Really, like I mean, obviously you have Homelander's like boss / wife / mother.
Yeah.
Then you have
the Wonder Woman.
The Wonder Woman character. What's her name again?
Or Queen Ave.
Queen Ave. And what I loved about her character was you know, she's represents the actress who's been in Hollywood for so many years and accepts the horror that goes on, even though she knows it's wrong.
Agree with it,
But she's on the way out.
She's like, if you want to survive in this,
and the protagonist essentially is a female.
Is a female.
I mean, there's about 2 protagonists, maybe 3.
I mean, arguably there's 3.
I have 4 even.
Yeah,
You
know, there's a lot. You know what? It's a great show.
It's a new one. How are you getting on with Umbrella Academy? Actually,
I've only finished season 1.
How did you like it?
Really enjoyed it.
It's
really
unbelievable.
enjoyed
Season 1's incredible.
I'm worried about season 2 though. I haven't heard much about it. Is it as good? Is it?
It's got I told you before, it's got second season syndrome. That doesn't mean that you won't really enjoy it, but it's one of those things that, like, you can tell the third season's going to be a banger.
And a lot of setting up.
Not even really a lot of setting up. You could just see that they had second season syndrome. Like, we went through this, ever since Game of Thrones, everyone expects every season to be incredible of everything. And that's just not realistic over the long term things. I mean, not every season of Sopranos was good. Not every season of Breaking Bad was good. The list goes on.
That's fair.
This whole situation makes me fear for Netflix because Amazon has, we talked about this, unlimited money. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They can make failures of shows and, like, it doesn't matter. They'll get their revenue for something else.
Bezos is richer than like 119 sovereign countries.
Like, Amazon is more GDP than, like, fucking Nigeria at this stage. Like,
honest to God.
But I just fear Netflix. So Netflix are cancelling a lot of shows. They got bad press for the fucking pedo movie. Cancel Netflix was, like, trending on Twitter. I know none of that shit actually fucking matters, but but I just feel like Amazon are really upping the quality of their stuff. Like, The Boys is one of my favorite series ever, period. Netflix, I've never really had a series. I love Stranger Things season 1, and, like, but then, like, I feel like they're beating a dead horse here. The news came out that they're not finishing that next season. They're going to keep on doing it. Eventually, we're just going to start fucking resenting these shows.
But what I like about what they said about that, though, they said they do know when they're going to end. That's a good like alternative.
Yeah, like Stranger Things is their kind of like, that's their fucking.
That's almost like their between. You see, before that, it was like Netflix was known for House of Cards. That was their first big thing. That crashed and burned. Now, obviously,
obviously that's outside of their control.
Yeah, obviously the Kevin Spacey thing obviously definitely was to his detriment. But I felt the last couple of seasons were lacking. It was dying off. I felt
it was a show that I could never start.
The first 2 or 3 seasons, 1, 2, and 3, were really strong, and then just really started to lose its bit. And you know what a problem with House of Cards is as well, is it just seemed too tame when Trump got elected. It was just like, this is very tame political show, when it's like, the White House is like more entertaining now to watch. Like, do you know what I mean?
I just feel like
that's a good.
But you're right, Jack. They're going into a point where they're churning content.
Yeah, they spent $1 billion on Friends. Like, was it $1 billion?
Something around.
Yeah, so it's like the majority of the numbers on Netflix is people rewatching shows from other places. I feel like HBO Go is happening, like The Office is leaving Netflix.
Yeah.
Loads of things are leaving Netflix. I think like the BBC are kind of going to start pulling back on like their own content because they can make so much money out of it.
And Amazon has global UK and US office, doesn't they?
It does.
Amazon has more money to spend on licenses, and Bezos is more fucking just be like, I'm going to pay you whatever the fuck you want.
Bezos is fucking Smaug. Like.
Yeah, he literally is sitting on his pile of gold.
Yeah.
Like, just
he's a disgusting
throws
bastard.
a coin at it.
The fact that someone like him exists is the issue with the world.
Like,
yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. Like.
But what I will say about Netflix is, I did go back to Amazon and they haven't improved upon it, but as long as they have a better interface, I will always use Netflix.
No, and this is the problem, because I feel like Amazon is like a couple of years behind Netflix, and I think Netflix, when they started, remember when it first started, I remember getting Netflix, and it was so bad. I mean, I never watched anything.
They used to send you DVD.
Yeah, that was the original one, and then, you know, when it came to Ireland, it was like a €4 a month, €5 a month, and it was terrible. You got like 1 or 2 movies you'd watch, no original content. Then when the original content came out, I found that they'd take chances on things.
Yeah.
They'd say, well, let's see how that goes. If it doesn't go so well. But now, because they've been around a few years, they're going to channel that into what content does well. Grand, let's just make that. Whereas I felt they used to take chances before.
Well, even like Maniac and like...
Yeah, like Maniac is really out there and really like not your...
That's not going to get the numbers.
And what was funny about Maniac was that got a huge push marketing wise. I remember seeing ads for it.
It did, but I don't think it did that well.
No, I don't.
You were actually one of the only... I watched it and I enjoyed it, but you were one of the only people who like I had heard like proper preaching about it.
Yeah, I mean, even among my friends, I think you watched it. I think I had 3 friends who watched it from start to finish and got through the whole thing. Because I get it wasn't the easiest.
It gets more
watch.
difficult. It gets more
Yeah.
difficult as it goes on.
But in saying that, that's Netflix taking a chance on things. Whereas I think now they're probably saying, what content?
Did you ever
is
watch
well,
that show,
make that.
OA?
No.
I watched it.
I got cancelled too.
To be fair, from like episode 1 to 9, and there's about 10 episodes, like the usual standard stuff, it's a really interesting, cool show. You're like, alright, this is real Stranger Things vibes, but they're taking a completely different approach.
Yeah.
It's about a girl who gets captured, but she's like brainwashed into thinking she's like an angel or whatever.
Okay.
And it's just a mental show, but then at the end, it takes place in there's a school, and she's been like teaching these kids to like fucking use her alien powers because she's been convinced she's an alien, and all the kids like are convinced she's an alien too.
Yeah.
But at the end, they stop a school shooting by interpretive dance.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I think that's when Netflix was like, right, we marketed this well.
Yeah.
But we marketed it, but maybe we need to rein it
Yeah,
back
no,
a little
Netflix
bit.
are going to make more shows like White Lines and more fucking teeny kind of sexy men and sexy women going around.
Like
That's
sexy in the
that
sun.
show's safe.
It's
Yeah,
safe.
yeah.
That's so safe.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like you're right, Jack.
That's why Mindhunter got cancelled.
because it
Doesn't make money. It's great TV, but it doesn't make money because fucking Chad isn't watching it.
Yeah, and
But-
you have the kissing booth and stuff like that gets marketed so well.
And like
that,
that Love Island fucking reboot or remake or
that's
something.
my fear as well. Is they're getting into reality TV now.
Yeah.
And when they can
It's
start churning
it's just
out that,
becoming another TV channel
it's just
to
becoming
me.
another TV.
But even like Dirty John, everyone's on it now. You know? I mean,
Dirty
everyone's
John,
watching
and
it.
the
And
second
I watched a
season
couple of episodes of it, and it's just such a painful watch. Like you're just like,
Well,
this
acting
is
in
such
season 1 of that is atrocious. The two daughters. in
Eric
season-
Bana is crap.
Yeah.
Now Christian Slater's in the new one, and he's a lot better.
I love respect for Christian
I really
Slater.
like
I like
Christian
Chris
Slater.
Slater. I like Eric Bana too, but I think you need to put him in the right role.
I like Eric Bana if he's fighting Achilles. Otherwise, like even when he's the fucking Hulk, I'm not that up for him.
Yeah. I have some fucking massive news. I don't know if you saw this. So Ben Affleck
I saw this.
is returning as Batman for the Flash,
Flash,
movie.
yeah.
Alongside Michael Keaton.
Yeah, this is going to be obviously is it Flashpoint?
Flashpoint,
Yeah,
yeah.
Flashpoint.
Flashpoint.
So this is going to be fucking shit, but I'm so excited.
I don't
for
think
it.
it's gonna be shit. I have a lot of
I
faith in this.
hate fucking Ezra Miller as the Flash. He's like, pizza.
Yeah, but I think at the same
Yeah,
time he
he's
was
not-
playing.
How does he still have a job? He beat a woman.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
That's
but
true.
He chokeslammed a woman. though.
allegedly.
No,
wait, there was a
yeah,
video. Of
there
that.
was a video, yeah.
But no, what with this film though, I think that this in the Justice League, he didn't really get enough time to flesh out his character. I don't
it's
think
just a shit
any of
movie.
them did, because they literally, like what Marvel did with the Avengers. Almost everyone had their own film beforehand, except for the Hulk, who had already had two separate kind of individual films.
Yeah, it was just be
that
confusing.
weren't part of the MCU.
Yeah, it was more of a
But
plan.
with Ezra Miller as the Flash, I think Flashpoint is such an incredible story, and they can approach it in such a light-hearted, kind of quirky way that it will actually be good.
Yeah, I mean, you know
Anyone
how
see the fucking... Apparently the proper trailer for the Snyder Cut is dropping today.
God.
Anyone see, like, the snippets of it?
did you?
Looks good.
No way.
It looks good.
But you know what? Batman v Superman looked good.
True.
From the trailers, I thought that looked good.
Oh, there was so much hype.
There was
so
so
much
much
hype.
But Justice League didn't.
No, it didn't.
It
I
didn't
knew
at
that
all.
was going
So
to
wait,
be
what's
next,
it? Batman v
yeah.
Superman Schneider Cut or Justice
No,
League
Justice
Schneider
League.
Cut?
Justice League Superman.
Oh, I'm
Snyder
so not
Cut.
arsed with
Snyder
Justice
Cut,
League,
I know,
like.
yeah,
The
yeah.
DC... Oh, this is a piece of news, actually. DC Fandom, which is, like... Their huge event, their huge press event, is now, like, digitally happening today.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And, like, it's all happening
Oh, we're definitely
from
getting
home.
the trailer. We're definitely missing
You're
out on
getting
the
like
trailer.
the Schneider Cut
Schneider
trailer,
Cut trailer,
apparently,
you're gonna
like
get Flashpoint
all of
trailer.
like, you're gonna get the Flashpoint. I don't know if the Flashpoint
probably not,
trailer's
they
coming out
probably
because
start
that's a bit
shooting
early.
it,
That's a bit early. But like every kind of like actor who's been involved, Matt Reeves' trailer might be coming up. with
Actually,
Batman,
that's a good point, yeah.
Oh well, he
everything
released the
like that.
logo. That's the other Batman
Yeah.
news. It looks pretty fucking. I'll show you
that's the
here.
only DC movie
Looks
I'm
pretty
excited
fucking
for.
dark and
I like that.
grimy.
I like
Looks
how that
nice.
looks.
Looks nice.
I have a lot of faith in Robert.
That
Pattinson.
looked. You know what that looks? That looked very comic-y, and I like that. I
Yeah,
like the,
yeah. I want my Batman with a little bit of comic
little
in it.
comic.
Although what I will say is, Robert Pattinson, now that he's becoming this unbelievable actor, and he has been for the last couple of years, but now he's in a load of films, and they've all been really good. It wouldn't surprise me if he had the Jared Leto complex,
100%
and
thinks
he
he's
just
fucks
has the
it.
worst Batman
And
experience
thinks
ever.
he's unbelievable.
I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna be a great Bruce Wayne, and then, like the Bruce Wayne is the boring part of Batman. Let's not beat around the bush. The fucking worst parts of fucking the Dark Knight trilogy is
when he's
watching
Bruce
Christian Bale be kind of a dick.
I actually really don't like Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne. He's one of my least favorite.
Yeah, so you have to, in my opinion, to get a great Batman, you have to be a good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I like Michael Keaton, but Michael Keaton Batman is like the worst.
Yeah. But like to lay the foundation, and I feel like Pattinson's going to fucking smash that out of the park.
See, the thing is, like, it's hard for me to imagine him as Batman. Actually, I'll be perfectly honest with you. But I don't like making assumptions about it because they always surprise you when they come
Just
out.
look, think of that chiseled chin through the
good.
bat suit, man. It's gonna be so good.
It gives me real like Daredevil vibes, like his look in a Batman suit. You know the Daredevil show. It gives me real.
They're all
vibes.
cancelled as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
Which is fucking ridiculous. They had such a good thing.
That's
going.
I'm surprised.
Disney, I'm pretty
but are
sure,
Disney
isn't it?
Plus not? They haven't announced any plans to relaunch them or to.
No,
I could never get into
MCU
those shows.
relaunches. They're obviously doing like the Winter Soldier and the Falcon, and then you have
probably
that
more
one
safe content again as well.
Wanda and Vision.
Yeah,
and
WandaVision.
WandaVision. Olivia Wilde, Spider Universe movie for Sony. So she said on Twitter, there was a report or whatever, and Olivia Wilde retweeted it with a spider emoji. So she is doing Spider Woman apparently on pretty good information that I saw, because people are just underneath her tweets pretty much confirming like this is Spider Woman. Everyone knows Spider Woman. She's kind of liked a couple of tweets or whatever.
Is she playing or directing?
No,
she's directing. Yeah.
What was the last movie she directed again?
Booksmart.
But that got huge acclaim.
Yeah, I've heard that's like a better is it Lady Bird?
Yeah.
I've heard it's a better, funnier Lady Bird.
Yeah, it's
because it stars the girl from Lady Bird,
Bird,
the Fred, as like kind of the main. It's more of a comedy. It's supposed to be really good.
And it was weird because she's such a Hollywood star, and it was like an indie movie. It was like a very small kind of movie.
I'm ready for a Spider Girl.
I would 100% watch it.
Do you like her as an actress?
Olivia Wilde.
Yeah.
Not really.
She's just kind of one of those. Like I was watching. We'll get into Intolerable Cruelty last night, and it was Catherine Zeta-Jones, and I was like, how is this not Olivia Wilde?
Basically the same person.
This is the same person.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, and
are all Ben Affleck are all interchangeable. Like.
And Leonardo DiCaprio, like they all get mistaken.
Yeah, all the time. Like,
yeah, I'm very excited for that. I want them to bring back Tobey Maguire, though. That would fucking complete my life. So
it's not happening.
It could happen. I want Andrew Garfield to have a good Spider-Man movie. I want Batfleck to have a good fucking Batman movie because he deserves it. And tell you what I don't want. I do not want a follow-up to 2017's Murder on the Orient Express, which is happening. Death on the Nile.
No!
Murder was just beginning. The trailer dropped for that. How did that make any money? I went to go see it in cinema. It was fucking brutal.
It was
dreadful. It's an old. The story in the first place is old. It's shit and boring.
So
God
times.
Almighty! Oh, it's I Am Spartacus. Yes, okay, that impressed your granddad back in the 40s. But we literally have fucking 8 different Spider-Mans and a fucking Nicolas Cage playing. No, he's not playing the pig. He's playing the dark noir Spider-Man. So like Murder on the Orient Express, all these old detective shit. It's just fuck it, over.
It's kind of like
it's lazy as well.
If you did a superhero movie back in the 40s, like it's kind of like doing a whoodunit on a fucking steam train. Now,
yeah,
like,
exactly. Like,
I don't get it. I get that it was like trying to be really stylized, and Poirot is obviously a pretty good character.
But it's like as you say, the whodunit is boring. It is. And the only whodunit I recently enjoyed was Knives Out. And it was because it was a little bit fresh. It was still
I didn't
a run of the mill. I know you didn't like it. I did.
Daniel Craig playing a Texan.
I hated that.
And what was the buzz?
Like, just make him English. Just make him English. It would have been so much easier.
Equally as good.
Do you know what I said? I'd say he didn't want to be English because he didn't want to come across the suave Bond character. And he was like, let me be a Texan.
He could have a fucking contract. Like, you can't pretend to be James Bond in anything.
You know what? He probably could. You can't be play that same.
You can't play because he hasn't done obviously he's a very busy man. He has to fucking keep that banging physique. He's the
fella's in his 50s and he's shredded like
he's been Bond for I feel like a decade and a half.
He was so good before Bond, and now he just fell off. Like
he
had like Layer Cake
got involved.
Remember?
Yeah. I didn't really like Defiance.
I loved Defiance. I thought Defiance was great. It
wasn't crazy. He was in Munich, the Steven Spielberg movie about the Munich bombings.
Oh yeah.
You know, he actually had a bit of a.
Did you not like Defiance?
Nah.
Was it because your man from X-Men was in it?
No, but that was one part.
I liked it. I liked how they were partisans.
Yeah, no, it was cool, and it was an interesting story, but I just thought it was a bit slow and a bit boring, to be perfectly honest with you.
I remember really liking it as a kid.
I thought it could have been a lot cooler.
I just like
It was a story about a rebellion and
World War II instead of
like a fringe group that are like broken off, like this kind of like I really.
And they're all like hiding out.
Yeah, I like that.
And
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Final bit of news. You'll both enjoy this. Kate Blanchett, Tilda Swinton. Okay, maybe you won't like it this much. Christoph Waltz and more join Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. That would be the most fucked up, crazy film ever.
That is a crazy.
That's like the craziest.
So
no
obviously,
way Christoph Waltz is playing Giuseppe.
Yeah,
he definitely is
real.
He's fallen off as well. When he first came to Hollywood and he was doing these amazing roles, when he did Inglourious Basterds, wow, fantastic.
He got boxed in.
He got boxed into the fucking aristocrat kind of richie guy.
Even when he was playing Django, he was.
It was the same guy,
It was almost the same person.
Same guy wasn't a Nazi.
He was like a good version of the same kind
eccentric
of
character.
Yeah.
Is there anything else really? Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone has now passed 1 billion in the box office.
Holy
20 years after its release. So that's pretty fucking amazing because it's back in cinema and it's the first movie I can remember seeing.
You're right. They've been showing all the Harry Potters back in the cinema again.
Yeah, which is
I
great.
can't believe they had to change it to the Sorcerer's Stone for
Americans. You fucking idiots.
I'm not even like pretending that's okay. America, get your shit together.
Well, I was funny. I was watching Reading in the Years the other day. I've been watching that flat out since I've been home because it's always on straight after the news, and it's a glorious show. It's honestly amazing, and I stand by that.
The two of you fucking love it.
Really is fast.
Because to be fair, the amount of footage that RTE has from the archives is just insane, and they've kept it all.
Yeah, but Ian, come on, man, you're 23.
It's so good.
You can't be sitting in watching Reading in the Years.
It's so good. Anyway, they went back to 2002 or something, and they were showing the Harry Potter movies coming out, and it was really weird watching them be cast, and it was like the cast of the Harry Potter franchise are announced, and it was features Irish cast, obviously your man played Seamus Finnegan, and then Richard Harris played Dumbledore, obviously was the first Dumbledore.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's so weird seeing that there, and then thinking how much of a big thing it would become in the next 10 years. It was just part of your life.
How lucky did they get with those actors though?
They got it so
except for first Dumbledore, because he was just fucking
he just
90.
died though,
well, and you know what, I
bit of a
preferred
gaff
him.
there.
I preferred him to Michael Gambon originally.
Yeah.
I thought he was great.
Well,
I
have you
like
ever,
Michael Gambon.
yeah, he was great too.
Michael, have you ever seen that scene? And it's like a little video, and it's he's asking Harry to put his name in the Goblet of Fire, and in the book, because I read all the books, loved them, whatever. It's Dumbledore whispers that, asks Harry that, and in the movie he's screaming at him, and it's not supposed to be that kind of thing. Dumbledore's supposed to be this kind of this calming, gentle presence.
Yeah, I thought Richard Harris brought that big time in the first two. As
he was very gentle in the first one, soft spoken,
and
then by the end of it, Dumbledore
he flipped the fucking lid.
Oh
and, the weird thing about it, he flipped the lid, but then a minute later he was best mate.
Yeah,
and then offered Harry sweets then after.
Wait, did Richard Harris make it to Prisoner of Azkaban?
No, he died. He died very shortly after Chamber of Secrets.
Very
shortly after Chamber of Secrets.
What else is that reminds me?
He also took. You know why he took that role?
Right.
He was offered it, and he was like, "I'm too old." He was like, "I'm not in the mood to be in this franchise," and he was like, "I'm too old." Essentially, he was and then his granddaughter was like, "I will never talk to you again if you don't accept this role," and he was like, "Oh fuck, now I have to."
And then it killed him. Now I hope the family aren't talking to the granddaughter.
You hear that? That first movie is a magical movie, though. It really is. Just everything. I love how
except for Voldemort's horrible backhead face.
Oh god, yeah, that's nightmare. But they tried so much to do physical effects in that movie, so much so that they tried to somehow get candles hanging from the Great Hall. Eventually just had to do CGI, which they're actually very disappointed about. A lot of love goes into that movie.
And you know what I thought was very interesting about the first two movies, actually? They were directed by an American director, Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
Not the genocidal murder.
Wait, the
Italian? And he had done stuff like Home Alone and
things
like that. So he figured he'd had experience with a kids movie.
Did he not get all the way to Azkaban as well?
No, he got to Azkaban and then they handed it over to Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh yeah,
and he was like, "I'm about to change the game
Yeah.
here."
Oh, he set into motion like what Harry Potter would become.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it just became this fucking everyone's so angsty and everyone
teenage.
oh, I'm such a teenager. I'm gonna start
and he made it dark and he put them in their own clothes instead of uniforms. It was like whoa.
That's the time loop in that. Remember when
great.
Hermione's going back in time? What's the story with the book? Like, was that in the book? Or like,
yeah, it's all in the books.
I've never read the books.
Essentially, in the books, J.K. Rowling knew it was going to get complicated if I kept that in it. So Hermione has to give it away then after the third one because it would make things too complicated.
Oh, she's a great writer. She's a fucking fantastic writer. She's got terrible views on everything else.
I know, yeah.
And she tries to
Hagrid is trans.
No, she hates trans people.
Yeah. She's a trans exclusive radical feminist all the way.
What?
Yeah. She just keeps on putting it on Twitter. It's like, okay, you can have these views if you want. Like but just stop making
people on Twitter.
Yeah, and then
her and Graham Linehan, we discussed this the other week.
Yeah, it's just like
just delete your Twitter accounts.
No one cares. You're becoming that old woman. It's like I wrote Harry Potter. I can say what I want.
And the thing about it was she was heavily involved in the movies. She had a huge say in who was cast, and as we say, the cast was.
Oh, I'd say Hermione fucking hates her.
Yeah,
she fucking hates her.
Emma Watson definitely hates her. But so it's.
But she did try to complain, to say that Hermione was black, and then multiple people gave segments of the book, specifically mentioning.
It's such like how can I make myself relevant? My last book came out 5 years ago. I'm going to bump up some stuff.
She's a great writer, but she's never written anything since.
Yeah.
Like she's never written it. Like
you can't.
She did. What was that?
And Fantastic Beasts as well. She wrote that, didn't she?
Oh, fuck Fantastic Beasts.
Fuck those movies.
I don't know how the
Eddie
CGI
Redmayne
is so much worse than those
It
films.
is.
I hate Eddie Redmayne. I fucking hate Eddie Redmayne. He doesn't deserve a job in
Eddie Redmayne had the Jared Leto complex as well. He was in so much good stuff. He won an Oscar.
That fella should won an Oscar way too early.
And then he just went on to be in Fantastic Beasts, and now he's in nothing.
And I was looking that up. They have 5 of those movies planned. They have 5 of them planned. Like
God. And when you look at
are they not being made anymore?
No, they're still making them. They're still making money, you see.
And you know what actually kills a franchise now, and it used to make a franchise, is Johnny Depp being in it.
Oh,
as soon as Johnny Depp
No, he's had some personal troubles, allegedly.
To be fair, he's gone through some...
He's got some shit going on.
Yeah,
right?
but
in saying that...
Is he suing the Sun currently?
Yeah, him and...
The Sun needs to go out of business. Fuck the Sun.
But he is, I don't know.
He's not a good actor anymore.
He's still carrying the Pirates franchise.
Is he though?
But at the same time, carrying it with what weight on his shoulders? No one watches those things.
Yeah.
No, I mean they still do well. They still do well in the box.
I just want him to come back. Take a 5-year break. Actually, you know what I watched them in? I watched him in that movie where he goes to Cuba, made in 2013. Oh. And he drives around the funny car or whatever, and it's kind of like this alcoholic fucking rider who goes to Cuba to try and get rid of his writer's block. And it's it's an enjoyable movie.
You talking about The Tourist?
No, that was with Angelina Jolie.
No, that was that was when he was doing action films.
Yeah.
That was weird.
He's had a weird career.
Weird old career.
Because
he's an eccentric guy though.
Wait, is that The Window? What's that?
I'm gonna get it up. But no, he's quite good in it. It's quite.
Yeah, he has acting chops.
He peaked with Fear and Loathing.
Yeah, he was in Fear and Loathing. He was also in What's Eating Gilbert Grape as a kid with.
That has been on my.
He was Willy Wonka.
DiCaprio.
Well, he's got something coming out in 2020.
That's on Amazon.
He's got 2 upcoming projects, which is pretty bad. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 3, and Puffins.
I just think he's always high whenever anyone talks to him as well. Do you ever get the impression he's high off his head?
Yeah.
You're always talking to him, he's like, I feel really bad for him. He looks terrible.
I love to do cocaine with
I love to do cocaine with you, Jerry Smith.
Of course he was Edward Scissorhands, actually.
Edward Scissorhands, yeah. He used to... Oh, he was Ed Wood in... Ed Wood, the Tim Burton movie.
Oh God, where's this movie I'm talking about?
And everyone was just
The Rum Diary. That's what it's called.
Rum Diary.
Yeah, it came out in 2011. Yeah, it was it's good. He's a freelance writer or whatever. He goes to Puerto Rico, so it's kind of funny. He gets himself into these fucking alcoholic situations.
Oh shit! Actually, what are we talking about? He was in Rango, the best film. the best film of our generation.
All right. Well, I think we've
talked movie news. We've gone from fucking Harry Potter to Johnny Depp to fucking Rango. So
So let's get into the Coens, and they are probably some of the most celebrated filmmakers.
Yeah, 100%.
Ever. And as I was saying, is they've been making movies since the late 80s, right into the 90s, and still now. And you see, the thing about them is I always consider them contemporaries because they make such kind of very groundbreaking films, very and their style has changed so much over the years, and it ranges from movie to movie. But I'm so glad we're finally talking about them because they're a writer-director duo. They also edit all their movies.
And produce everything.
Too. They are like titans of the film industry.
They really are.
I suppose
they're also so typically American in like their most original way possible. Everything they do is just incredibly American. Do you feel that?
Yeah. 100%.
In like every aspect of America as well.
Yeah, they capture that kind of spark of America where it's like, wow, you really are like an American.
Yeah.
Like Fargo, the dude fucking like the way the dude lives is just like, oh, like that was so middle America.
Ranging from like the Ballad of Buster Scruggs to Fargo, I mean, you literally get every American in between.
Yeah, you do, and like you're right, and they really get. What I love about them is they have brilliant portrayals of like, you know, New York and stuff, and like also as well Americans throughout time. So they'll portray people in the 60s, the 70s, you know, people in the 1930s and stuff and all. And then they'll also make a movie like Fargo, which is set in like the Midlands, the Midwest, like, isn't it?
Minnesota,
like, you
middle
know
of fucking nowhere,
in this little town called Fargo, and everyone's talking like, oh gee Margie, like, you know, they capture that.
Yeah,
so well.
And it's even like in Intolerable Cruelty, like divorce lawyers in like LA compared to like the Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
You know?
It's like some stoner guy, yeah. So I'm just going to go through when they've been making movies since. Their first big movie was Blood Simple, that came out in 84. They also, one that I've never seen, and I've been meaning to see it for ages, Raising Arizona, which is Nick Cage.
It's supposed to be class.
Meant to be really
like
good.
A funny
it's about,
kind of,
it's a comedy.
We didn't do it for the Cage podcast,
we just talked about how batshit his life is, really.
But it has Cage, and I think it has Patricia Arquette in it as well, and they're two rednecks essentially who have to raise a child, and apparently it's a barrel ass. Then he had Miller's Crossing, Barton Fink, The Hoodsucker Proxy. Now this is where I think things change. So I've seen Miller's Crossing, very run of the mill gangster movie. It's very original in a lot of ways, but it still follows a very linear story. It's got the cinematography is very, you know, there's nothing really that special about it. Great movie though. Gabriel Byrne is superb in it. He's an Irish gangster. It's set in the 30s. It's absolutely brilliant. But where I think the flip switched was Fargo, because that comes along in 96. And that's when they just fully embraced how
96?
96
When
was
was
Fargo.
No Country for Old Men?
That was 2000s.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think No Country for Old Men was made.
Was Big Lebowski 2000?
It was made in 2000.
98.
Was it?
Yeah, Big Lebowski's 98.
God, that movie does not look 22
so
years old.
Also, this is where the thing about them is as well is they've had a few stinkers, right? But in the space of a few years, they made Miller's Crossing, Barton Fink, which all were fairly well regarded. Hoodsucker Proxy also were very well regarded. Then they had Fargo. Straight after Fargo, they made The Big Lebowski. And straight after The Big Lebowski, they made Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? So that is like three solid
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is really good.
Is fantastic. And then I think that's when they've changed since. Fargo was like that point where they
veered
went
off on a tiny bit.
They veered off and they went, let's go the kind of quirky route for a few years. I think they went from making kind of like very 90s movies as well. The movies that they made were extremely 90s, and I think the movies they make now are much more, you don't know what they're going to come out with.
Well, I only recently watched The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and I gotta say, you've seen that, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
It's one of those films that you just wouldn't see anyone else doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially what it is. It's a collection of
It's an anthology of...
It's kind of a collection of short stories if anything. But I definitely wouldn't recommend it.
No,
even
I don't think so.
Like, there's so many good stories within it.
There's also some bad stuff in there too.
It's just that it's 2 hours and 15 minutes long, and it's a collection of short stories.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, look, at the end of the day, the thing that I like about a short film is that I can get invested in it, and it's over in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't want to see 10 of them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And I mean,
is there 10? Is there?
There's a lot.
I'll go through them. There's the actual one with Buster Scruggs.
Does that one count? I figured that was more of just like an intro.
Well, it's kind of an intro, but it was kind of a story as well.
I suppose, yeah.
It's as long as like the one with James Franco.
That was crazy with the opening. It opens up with Buster Scruggs singing a song, and I was like,
I was so happy that wasn't the film.
Yeah, I know. It was not the rest of the movie is nothing like that.
I could not take Tom Waits speaking like that for an entire film. Like, I just couldn't fucking do it. But then there's the James Franco one. There's the one with the chicken that can do math and who outshines the guy with no arms or legs.
Yeah,
and
I really like that too.
The Prospector, that was my favorite.
Prospector was brilliant. You know what my favorite one was? Do you remember the girl with the dog?
Trip to Oregon. That was my favorite.
Incredible.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
I feel like they should have released this as a Netflix series.
It was a Netflix film, and it was their first collaboration with Netflix, and it worked. It only worked. I couldn't imagine going to the cinema to see this. Put it that way.
I'd kind of be annoyed if I went.
It worked as a something you watch on a streaming service, like, you know what I mean. And to be fair, I got to give credit to the Coens. They're guys who've been around since the 80s, and yet they probably knew this film was perfectly suited to Netflix, and they put it out there. And look, they spared no expense with it. It looks fantastic.
It looks incredible. This was the first film that they ever shot in digital.
No.
Oh
way.
You can tell because it's really like
it's
aesthetic. They put a lot of effort into the cinematography, and I mean every story in itself is a really like if these are short stories.
We should also add they're all short stories and they're all set in
like
the
Midwest,
the Old West, the Old West, like back in.
Must be a book or something.
When America was like,
I think it is. I think it's adapted. I think it was nominated for Best Adapted.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Like it's a fun little movie, and you can get the timestamps online to.
Yeah, if there's ones you feel that you know and you're not vibing with.
But I do agree. I think that it would have been really good as a Netflix series. Like the Coens have brought out a Netflix series.
You know what? If it was like a Netflix series, like Love, Death and Robots.
That's literally exactly that's literally what I was thinking about.
To put this kind of format in like a 2.5 hour one, like when I sit and watch a movie, I just kind of watch a movie. Like I don't like to fucking stop and watch.
But I mean, you're into the characters and then you're out of the characters.
That's the problem.
And then you have to get invested in another one,
and
you're sitting there for 2 hours.
And you have to wait for one to be finished to get onto the next one. And if there's one you're not really enjoying, it can take you out of the film. Whereas, like as you said, if it was a series, you could go, "Oh, this one looks good. This one looks good. Oh, I'm not really liking."
Like a Black Mirror kind of vibe.
Exactly,
or something
Black Mirror.
10-minute Black Mirror kind of
like
stuff.
That was that Love, Sex, Robots is like one of the best shows ever. I've
never watched it.
Blew my mind.
But I actually think that if the Coens came out and they were like, "This is the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, a collection of short films," each one of those short films would have won an award for it. But instead they went for the full film. Yeah. Which, look, at the end of the day,
they're filmmakers. That's their style.
But they do make shorts.
They do. Yeah.
And they've made multiple shorts over the years.
But the thing about them as well is they're definitely. What I like about them is they're Hollywood, like massive names in Hollywood. They are like, if you're working with the Coens, you're doing well. Like, and they've what I love about them as well is they've always managed to like bring out the best in their cast. They've worked with the likes of Frances McDormand and stuff in the past. They always work with John Turturro.
Brad Pitt is fucking class.
The cast of Burn After Reading, which we will get into, is like my favorite cast you could possibly have.
And they've always cast movies very well. I found, like, I mean. One of the big reasons that the Coens get a lot of praise as well is for No Country for Old Men. They put Javier Bardem on the mainstream map, and he had very little English apparently when they were shooting that film.
But they didn't need it.
They were just like, you're only going to be saying a handful of.
So actually, talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, I was watching a video for a 7-minute long video of him saying Jack Sparrow
as Salazar. He says he's constantly gurgling water.
He does.
But he No Country for Old Men is an adaptation of a Cormac McCarthy novel who wrote The Road. And things like that.
It's an unbelievable story.
Yeah, it is a great story, and I think what was so good about it was it's just like a cat and mouse movie essentially. Where
it's such a simple premise, but the villain is just done so well throughout that. He's the funniest looking villain in the world.
Yeah,
I love the Baronet. Like
the
Baronet
is like 70s. Fucking like he looks like Eric from that 70s show.
He's very Coen like.
Yeah, and he just doesn't really speak. Like he's smart as well. Like he's experienced hitman, obviously, and he's just cold, calculated. But I mean, he just doesn't give a shit. Yeah. People are sitting there begging for his life. He's menacing in it. I mean, every time he's on the screen, it's just wow.
But I mean, that is like a groundbreaking film because really it's taking noir and just applying it fully to Western, to a Western, and like the Western tropes as well. Yeah. And it's noir not only in like aesthetic, but it's noir in the fact that no one in the entire film gets any kind of resolution or meets like their end. Like like Tommy Lee Jones is the old man. Like he's too old for it. Like he can't handle this guy going around with a fucking cattle prod.
Yeah.
killing people. I mean, Shigar doesn't get the guy that he's looking for. It doesn't get fucking why am I blanking on?
I can't remember his name again. Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin, but and
he's also great in this.
Josh
too.
Brolin gets, not to ruin it for anyone, but if you haven't seen it, go fucking watch it. Josh Brolin gets killed by random gangsters who aren't in the film. No one gets like their resolution.
And you see, I think that annoys a lot of people that I've talked about. They go, "Oh, it just kind of ends," and I'm like, that's the beauty of it, because it's like you're expecting.
Who kills Josh Brolin again?
Just random Mexican gang, because it's set in like Texas, isn't it, or New Mexico or something.
Yeah, so he finds random cash.
Yeah,
and it's not really linked to anyone.
No,
but Shigar comes after him for it. And does someone set Shigar on him?
No.
I thought he talks to his wife on the phone.
No, he does. Yeah. Shigar gets his wife as well.
Shigar gets his wife. Yeah.
Isn't that Kelly MacDonald, who the Scottish actress?
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you the wife.
I think it's
the wife's not really in it.
You know Diane from Trainspotting.
Let me check.
Oh fuck, it is.
She's proper Scottish, and she plays an American in this, and she's got the accent.
Yeah.
Perfect. And when you hear her talk,
so the Mexicans track down the fucking package and kill her.
Yeah. I think that's what.
Yeah,
happens.
that is Kelly MacDonald.
No, this is a fucking fantastic film.
Woody Harrelson's in this.
Well, actually,
he is. Yeah, he also gets killed.
I've got a fact about Woody Harrelson. So Woody Harrelson is like the cop in it, isn't he?
No, he's another hitman.
You're right.
Who doubles up and goes, and he's told to rein in.
You're right.
Shakur.
You're right. You're
and Shakur actually ends up. It's like an agent. It's like there's a big business guy who's got the drugs involved, and that's the reason there's a tracker and everything in the fucking money. So they're gonna double cross or whatever. So they send Woody Harrelson to fucking get Shakur, because he's gone the fucking bloody rampage now. He's fucking up everything for them. And then Woody Harrelson gets its class. He sees him at the bottom of the staircase, he's just like, I'm done, because he just knows Shakur is better than him. And then I think Woody Harrelson's last words are like, you don't have to do this or whatever, or something like that, and he just kills him. And then I love how Shakur walks up to the businessman, goes through the front door, and just kills your man. But like, he won't actually kill anyone if he doesn't. He's not going to kill anyone innocent or something that he can leverage off. Because the guy is sitting there in the chair watching Shakur fucking kill the man, and he just turns around and goes, "You didn't see anything," and like that's it.
That's what's so great about the character. But I've got
he's one of the best villains.
I've got a mad fact about that. So in that film, Tommy Lee Jones makes reference to a judge who was assassinated, and that's in the Cormac McCarthy novel. That's mentioned that a judge was assassinated, and it's based off the real life murder of a judge who was killed. And do you know who killed that judge?
Woody Harrelson's dad. Yeah.
Stop.
Because Woody Harrelson's dad was a hitman.
Yeah. What?
And And Woody Harrelson doesn't really talk about it, but everyone was like, that is crazy that he's in this movie. And then there's a judge in it based off a real life judge who was killed by his
so I think we all live in a simulation or something like
I
this.
know,
There's too many fucking...
Isn't that insane? So, okay, so that's actually a good... I think that's actually a good start point, because we've talked about their newer movies, Buster Scruggs and No Country for Old Men. Arguably, their most contemporary and some of their most... Like, No Country for Old Men is probably one of their most famous films.
Probably they're definitely they won 3 Oscars. They won one.
It's their most acclaimed film.
They've won 4 Oscars, 3 for No Country, and then I think 1 for Fargo.
Yeah, square that then with the likes of Fargo and let's say the Big Lebowski. How do they differ, and how do they, their approach to the films, and the stories they're telling in those films?
I think that it's strange when you look at No Country for Old Men and you look at the Big Lebowski, because they are completely opposing films that are just so unbelievably similar, and I don't know how that works, but
it's a good point.
It's just the stylistics of the
style
two.
And tone.
I mean, in the Big Lebowski and in No Country for Old Men, it's basically like and in Fargo, it's a concentrated grouping of people who all have really kind of interesting, like, individual traits and properties and stuff that they bring to the film, and they all interlink and interconnect with each other and just cause chaos, essentially. And that's what happens throughout.
And chaos is at the center of their films.
At the center of all of the films, and even like the absurdity of the chaos within the films. It doesn't matter what Coen Brothers film you're watching; they're all extremely chaotic and all extremely like just kind of off the walls. Because of all of these mental characters that they write intentionally for that purpose. I mean, The Big Lebowski it's just a collection of mental people.
It literally
Yeah,
is.
it is. Yeah,
Like,
John
they're all
Goodman
just
is
insane.
fucked
John
in that
Goodman is
film.
He's
wild.
so
Like,
good.
I love how he just references fucking Vietnam every 5 minutes. Like,
he's the most unhinged man
he
ever.
clearly has PTSD
Yeah.
and is doing nothing
Nothing
about
about
it.
He's just ready to go at any time.
John Turturro's class in that. I
He's
love when
so
they're
good.
like, yeah, like he's a full on rapist.
He's a sex offender.
He's just-
He has to go around and he has to go knocking on people's doors, informing people. That he's
and
a
then
sex
they
offender.
just show him like walking up. It's just so stylized. It's like, yeah, and it's like,
And they're bowling.
right
And
back
like,
in.
so like, for a bit of context here, The Big Lebowski is about the dude who's just like chill and just goes about life.
He's a nihilist.
And he just doesn't really care about anything in particular. And then he gets somehow wrapped up in this like
The kidnapping of
this millionaire.
he's got the same name as the millionaire. And they come in and
Both
piss
call
in
him
his rug, and he goes and visits them, and the guy goes, I need to...
You need to find
yeah.
my wife who's been kidnapped, and his wife is like a
Tara
20-year-old Tara Reid. And
Wait,
this
it
guy's
was so 90s. by
Yeah,
the way. Like,
so
you can tell that this is in the 90s.
yeah,
because
and
Tara
then
Reid's
he's
in it.
this big fat, fucking businessman, and Lebowski like is wrapped up in this, and all he wants is a replacement for his rug,
For his rug,
for his
yeah.
rug, like, which I love. I just love how absurd that is and how insane that is, and of course they have the whole plan to pay off the what do they call the ransom and stuff.
Yeah.
It goes wrong. The movie takes a complete left turn, and it doesn't really go anywhere either. It doesn't particularly go anywhere.
It doesn't
And,
end either. Like,
I also loved, he meets, what's her name again? Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
As
is it Tilda Swinton or Julianne
no,
Moore?
it's Julianne Moore.
Is Tilda Swinton in this?
Could be.
They're pretty.
they're honestly no, it's
pretty
not Tilda
interchangeable
Swinton.
for me as
Julianne
well.
Moore has a fucking like a McDonald's fucking sign haircut in it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, and she's like,
It's like, yeah.
she's the artist who's throwing herself covered in paint onto canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was
Some of the
glorious.
situations in this movie are fucking hilarious.
Oh, it's just insanity.
Yeah.
And then what I love about it is it just ends in the bowling alley. It just ends just there, and it's perfect. And Sam Elliott just giving a bit of
And you
narration
think
at
going
the
into
end.
it, you think that it's going to be, alright, this is about bowling.
It's not at all.
It's in no way about bowling.
No.
It really, bowling isn't anything to
Also,
do with
Netflix needs to update the fucking artwork for
Yeah,
this. It's
they
John
do,
Goodman with a gun, like as if it's some fucking
as if
action
it's like
movie.
this action film.
I was like, this is the most tone deaf thing in the world. Like,
Yeah, I saw their poster. Oh yeah, their poster for the Breakfast Club, right? They have the shot of what's the kid's name? Anthony Michael Hall, isn't that his name? You know, the kind of nerdy kid in the Breakfast Club.
yeah, he's just sitting there with like a
he's
pen. in
He's
his
there with a
hand.
pencil. It's because it's the shot where he's smoking the joint, and they drew a pencil in for the
Instead.
like. Why bother?
Yeah,
Why bother?
I cannot wait till weed is legalized.
Yeah,
like,
I know,
like, why are you fucking editing fucking a movie from
This-
1986?
But
Like,
the
get
movie's
over
rated
it.
12. Like, there's
Yeah.
gonna be drug use. in it,
Marijuana
like,
exists,
bizarre,
guys. I
like,
hate to break it to you.
bizarre, but yeah, like I mean, Lebowski just is one of those films that subverts your expectation of. I went in thinking it was going to be one thing, and it wasn't. And don't go into it looking for like a story or just enjoy.
Well, that's
every
one of the
frame
issues.
of
I
it.
gotta admit now. Now this happened to me with Fargo, it happened to me with Big Lebowski, and it happened to me with No Country for Old Men. All of these films, even True Grit, kind of, which are all these films that I watched the first time and I didn't like them off first viewing.
Well, yeah,
No
I
Country
just
for Old Men,
understand that.
I sat on for a day, and after the day, I was like, that was actually an incredible
Really
film.
good, yeah.
But with Big Lebowski, didn't like it off my first watch. Fargo, I actually didn't get through it on my first watch.
Whoa.
And True Grit, didn't like it off my first watch. But then I came around to them on the following watches because I went in with a lot less expectation of what I was expecting to see.
These are two watching movies. Like, you have to watch them twice.
Yeah.
Or you have to just watch it knowing that it's
Yeah,
the
or you
Coen
just have to
brothers
watch it
you're
with no
watching, you know?
fucking distractions whatsoever. Like, these are cinema films.
Yeah. Big
True Grit is class. I know Cal loves that. It's one of
Cal
Cal's
loves
favourite
it. Cal
movies.
loves
I saw it with Cal originally. I saw it in cinema like 2 or 3 times.
Haley Steinfeld just rolling rollies every couple of minutes for Jeff Bridges.
I remember when I saw True Grit at the time, and I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. At
We
the
were a
time.
bit young though.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching it again. I wouldn't mind watching
It's
it
on
good.
Netflix.
It's
with
good
Jeff
film.
Bridges.
I love Matt Damon. I'd do anything for Matt Damon.
And he's great in it.
He is.
He is fantastic. He plays like the fucking
He's like a bit of a bumbling kind of a.
yeah, he's like a what do they call them?
He's
like
a-
a ranger. He's a
ranger,
ranger.
yeah.
He's like a shit at his job. And
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges is like this old man who can like bounty hunter kind of vibes. That's a great movie as well. It's like a really interesting and fresh take on the Western, and it's a remake.
Yeah, I saw
obviously,
you see, the thing is, I've seen the original a good few times, and it's your classic John Wayne film, and actually, it is quite similar to the remake, except
same story. Like, does he get bitten by the snake?
No, not like this. They've added quirky bits into it.
Can I just say, just for any of the listeners or just us in general, if you ever get bitten by a poisonous snake, apparently the worst thing to fucking do is try and suck the venom out. Apparently, that was like a debunked myth that I heard recently, and I was like, snakes have been playing fucked us all.
Yeah,
like I would have thought, like, if I got bit by a poisonous snake, I'd be sucking the juice.
I would be putting olive oil in my mouth.
Olive oil in my mouth. I'm sucking the juice. Apparently, that will kill you immediately. That will spread the venom incredibly fast.
I think if you get bitten by a venomous snake, you're just fucked.
Well, actually, when we were in Cambodia, we heard a story about this woman who got bitten by a king cobra on one of the islands that we were at. King cobra is one of the most venomous snakes on the planet, like, and we were looking out for them on the island the whole time. Fuck, but she was actually extremely obese, so she lived.
So it didn't get into her bloodstream.
And they couldn't. She couldn't get a boat until the next morning.
Holy shit!
So that's meant to kill you in the space of a couple of hours. She lasted a couple of days. They managed to get her leg off. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like apparently, how they handle it in Australia is they like, if you get bitten, try and take a picture of the snake. No joke, and find what snake it is, and immediately just call the authorities and be like, I'm after getting bitten by this snake, and they'll just apparently in every hospital they just know. They're like, right, you need to do this,
yeah,
which is insane.
Fucking like Australia just seems like a fucking battle royale for like you against like Dingo ate my baby.
Yeah,
but it's not even like,
I think we talked about Dingo ate my baby already, didn't we?
Did we ever mention that?
Does anyone know the story of Dingo ate my baby?
They made a movie about that.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah,
Dingo ate a baby.
Gabriel Byrne's in it. I'm pretty sure
He is. He
Yeah.
fucking is.
But is anti-venom actually a thing, or is that kind of like truth serum?
I think it's like
you know, like truth serum isn't a thing.
I think that's like acid and base.
Yeah,
where like
yeah.
you do like
I think so.
Oh,
it's
is it? Yeah.
One
Yeah.
count is the other.
like
that
lemon
makes
and
sense.
lime, you know.
Because like
It's 7-Up.
Yeah, flat 7-Up.
But like cures in general, like that you have for poisons and
they're
for
all
like
about,
antidotes, like what the fuck is
What's
an
the
antidote?
buzz there? Like, yeah.
See, your man was allegedly poisoned by Putin the other day.
Oh man,
He's just landed in
Putin's
Germany.
just fully a dictator.
His
Like,
tea.
Did they get him into?
He's in Germany and he's fucked.
So anyway, back to
Welcome back to the Poison Snake podcast.
That's what we talk about. Everything poisonous snakes.
So yeah, I mean, they are definitely quirky directors. They've always had another thing is they have an extremely dark sense of humor, and they just make the characters so absurd, and like in all of their movies there's always like a hint of absurdity and stuff. One of their movies that I found I was so excited for, and it was really flat, and I would go as far as saying it was boring, but I loved it, was Inside Llewyn Davis, which is...
I haven't seen this. You and Jack have seen it.
Yeah,
It's flat.
It's flat. It's flat, and it's essentially, you've got Oscar Isaac, you've got... You see, I saw the cast.
JT.
I got so excited. You know, Justin Timberlake, Oscar Isaac, John Goodman, you had Carey Mulligan, you had...
I fucking hate Carey
Yeah,
Mulligan
yeah.
now. She just does my nut in.
I'll give you a fun fact about her.
Be in a fucking happy movie, would you?
She's married to Marcus Mumford, right?
No
From
way.
Mumford
Of course
and
she
Sons,
is. They
right?
probably go around dressed in the fucking 1840s, like
Wearing fucking
fucking
waistcoats.
tweed, like fuck off.
Do you know how they met though? She's from America, he's from England, obviously.
Yeah.
They were pen pals growing up.
That's fucked.
Isn't that insane? And then they both became famous.
Of course he has a pen pal.
That is, yeah, I know. Who
Where's he from? Like Nottinghamshire or something?
Yeah, he's
like,
from. Yeah, he's
something
from,
with a
like,
shire at the end of it. Like,
something like very.
oh,
very
just Mumford and Sons. Like, why did we let the Lumineers and Mumford and Sons be music fucking in 2012? Like, they are fucking trash.
Mumford and Sons are so good at the start.
And to be fair, they have that song with that they've recorded in Africa. Did you see that one where they played in South Africa? And it's the most beautiful thing ever.
Is
It's
it?
called "There Will Be Time." You should look it up. It's amazing.
Oh, I thought it was more like Get Into the Greek vibe where they went to Africa.
And
And,
African child. But
It's a great movie song. But yeah, Inside Llewyn Davis, it's flat. It's literally just about a folk singer who never really made it, and
well, they love music across the board.
They love
That's
it,
something like
yeah.
even like Battle of Buster Scruggs, Inside Llewyn Davis, Oh Brother We're Out There.
Brother We're Out
It's
There,
pretty
yeah.
much like
it.
central around.
Yeah.
music,
yeah,
like.
there's class music in that.
it's unbelievable.
It is, and that's what, like I was saying on the last podcast. It's gone on tour. Like the soundtrack's
the
gone on tour.
soundtrack's
It's had multiple like follow up
iterations.
soundtracks,
and that was the thing. What I loved about Inside Llewyn Davis was I don't know why, I remember just being so excited to see it, and I was so buzzed for it, and I used to they released the soundtrack before it came out, and the soundtrack is incredible. I mean, they're all just folk songs that they've recorded with the artists, and Oscar Isaac is a superb singer. He is incredible.
Is he? Yeah.
He is unbelievable. And then he does the one song. Carey Mulligan has a song with Justin Timberlake, and it's beautiful. 1,000 Miles from Home. It's so good.
Oh, I was expecting like.
But then there's one scene in it though that I still think is one of the most iconic scenes. It's where JT he asks Oscar Isaac to record a song with him, and what's good about it is JT is like kind of a bit of a sellout because he like kind of writes poppy music and stuff, and Oscar Isaac is like, you know, troubled by it. Yeah, and he doesn't like it, but he likes JT, Justin Timberlake's character, and he thinks he's a nice guy, but he thinks he's a bit of a loser, even though he's more successful than him. So they go into the studio to record a song, and it's an actual song called "Please, Mr. Kennedy," unbelievable song, and who else also features in the scene is what's his name? Kylo Ren. What's his name again?
Adam Driver. Yeah, Adam Driver's in this.
This is the only bit he's in the movie, okay? And he keeps like just making noises in the background, and he keeps going like "Roar, roar, roar," and like Oscar Isaac's looking at him like, who the fuck is this guy? And they go to play the song, and Justin Timberlake, he's like, listen, I'm glad that we're recording this now, and he's like, and thanks for a bit of money. He's like, but who the hell wrote this? And Justin Timberlake's like, I did. And then you think it's going to be terrible. They perform it. It's unbelievable. And there's the two of them are just bouncing off each other. Like, I swear to God, if Oscar Isaac and JT were in a band together, they'd be so good. And they're just, and I just remember it just elevated the whole film for me. And then what the beauty of it is like the movie is just like Oscar Isaac making bad decision after bad decision. And they they offer him there and then, do you want royalties or do you want to be paid up front? If you get paid up front, you're going to sacrifice any royalties. If the song's a hit, you don't get any money. He takes the money up front. Yeah. What do you think happens?
It's the number one song.
It's on the radio. It's all over the radio.
And he has to listen to it so many times.
And he hates the song. He thinks it's a terrible song. And
he's a typical stuck-up fucking artist who thinks he's...
and you know what I liked about the film is it acknowledged that he was a mopey fucking artist as well.
He's an
arsehole. He couldn't get over his own fucking issues and just be a fucking success as well. He was his own.
He had the chance to be a success, but he wouldn't sell out like.
And there's he does this kind of he goes cross country. He tries to get a gig.
What's the story with the singing in it? Like, I find in like Over the Wire down and like Ballad of Buster Scruggs and different things like that they don't even try and make it seem like the people are singing.
No, this is like in the film. I think they actually performed in front of the camera. It's live. Like, I think they actually the soundtrack is different. Yeah. They obviously went to a studio to record it and things like that. But when they're performing there and then, I think they actually did perform there and then.
Yeah, no, it's very good musical.
And you know what? Look, nothing really happens in it, and there's a little nod to. You see, it's funny because he tries to get a gig in this place and he's kind of going, that kind of music just doesn't sell. Kind of folk music just doesn't sell. And at the end, you see he walks by a guy and it's meant to be Bob Dylan playing in a thing, and he's playing folk music, and that was obviously huge. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like all these things, and then there's nice elements. He's got these two neighbours who are always trying to look after him and be nice to him.
Yeah.
He flies off the handle at them at the start of the movie, and it just kind of ends with him going back in, and he's like, oh, by the way, like, I'm sorry about... And they're like, don't even want to acknowledge it.
He grows as a person.
Yeah, and they're like, would you stop? Like, come on, like, it's not. So, in a weird way, it's one of their most boring, flat movies, but it's one of my favourite films.
Yeah.
I felt they did keep it engaging, and they can make a movie like this and then make No Country for Old Men. Yeah. It's insane. You know what I mean? Like No Country for Old Men, you're on the edge of your seat for that whole movie.
Yeah.
You are literally like, I don't know what's going to happen next. Then Inside Llewyn Davis, it's taken its time. It's got music and there's nothing really going on. Then you've got The Big Lebowski, where it's like everything is like visually pleasing and like hilarious. Every time there's a character on, you're laughing. Actually, I'd argue Inside Llewyn Davis is one of their most depressing movies.
Yeah. Oh, it's set in the fucking snow in a shitty little American town.
I do feel like
everything bad happens.
Yeah.
I feel like they're slightly overdue another film though, kind of in the similar vein as like No Country for Old Men. Like not No Country for Old Men, but like in the same kind of like, you want that chaotic.
Yeah.
Like culmination of these mental characters.
It's like a Fargo kind of buzz.
Like Burn After Reading.
Burn After Reading, Burn After Reading is like snap, snap, snap. Let's get into that.
We'll talk about Burn After Reading.
This is a fucking hilarious film.
I absolutely love it.
It's so like it's like you can see, like we grew up in the world of the internet 24/7. We are natural technology people. You can see like people like our parents, who was like this kind of like the age of maybe 10 years younger than their parents or whatever. So when the internet came in, everyone was like, oh, this is on the internet, it's real. This is exactly the kind of buzz of this movie. Like Brad Pitt is a fucking buffoon. Like he is like an idiot, and
he's really bad,
really bad, like, and idiotic in this film. And it's just a chaotic story that starts off from something so simple, and I fucking love this film.
It's phenomenal.
I mean, who else is in this cast?
So it has the angriest cast in the world. It has Frances McDormand, it has John Malkovich, it has J.K. Simmons, which it just like those three is a culmination. They don't actually really play angry characters in this film. Like John Malkovich, he snaps, but
he snaps bad.
Yeah, he does snap bad. J.K. Simmons plays himself. And Frances McDormand, she's kind of completely offbeat. Like she is. She's a great actor. She's got a lot of depth and like variations.
Good range,
but, like,
and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, even the whole cast is like Tilda Swinton's in it, Richard Jenkins again, and he crops up quite a bit. Like George Clooney is again in this. George Clooney in every Coen Brothers film. Like he literally is such a reoccurring character in their films.
Is John Turturro in this?
I mean. Check now. I don't think is he?
Because he used to have him in all of their. Everything. They used to have him in all. Of their films.
Did you get to watching this?
No.
Oh, I don't want to ruin it. Then no. It's so basically what happens. I won't go through it.
Yeah.
A bunch of mysterious CIA information ends up on this disc, and two PTs at a gym find it. And
that's so Coen's.
And they start, and one of them starts to blackmail the CIA essentially, or someone who they think is in the CIA, so she can get money for a boob job. Isn't it a boob job?
Yeah, it's a boob job, and she's constantly talking about her boobs like she's a little bit past it or whatever. Like I'm not saying that as in whatever. It's like that's the whole point of the movie. She thinks she's past it. She's a little bit old. She's not like. She's trying to get like a liposuction as well, like on her stomach.
She's holding on to her sort of look she had when she was young.
Yeah, and she's trying to get like she's trying to date men and everything, and fucking all the men are just losers. Her arseholes are married and stuff.
Until
like that.
George Clooney comes along, who is like this horrible playboy, like knacker bastard, but he starts to like. So essentially, what happens is all of these people get involved who they think are part of the CIA, who all these like outside characters come in who again they think are all connected and are all going to help them like drive forward and get this money. None of them are.
Okay.
And essentially the CIA are watching all of this because they're actually like trying
to get their fucking
they're literally just like, what
the fuck is happening?
That's my favourite part, is the CIA is watching all this and they're trying to connect the dots between all of these people who are in no way connected. It's
kind of like the CIA are the audience.
So they're kind of like the audience. And J.K. Simmons is like kind of the person, he's the head of the CIA essentially, or the head of the job of like getting back this disc of information, and he's just brilliant in it as well. But John Malkovich and Frances McDormand have an absolute stormer in this.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't get John Malkovich as an actor because I've never seen him in something I didn't like him in.
I love him. I just think
But he's not in enough.
No, he's not. He's 100% not. Did I read something about him? I don't know how true it is because I can't remember if I was getting it mixed up with. I can't remember if I was getting it mixed up with his character. His character in Being John Malkovich.
Oh fuck, that's a great movie.
But apparently John Malkovich has made a movie that no one will ever see until
he has
to 2080 or something.
Yeah, he has the fucking arsehole.
Yeah.
I want to see that so bad. Every time I think about that, I'm like, fuck you. You ever get FOMO?
Yeah.
What the hell?
We might make it, guys. It's 60 years away.
I mean, yeah, we'll be like 80.
We're 83 or so.
I wonder what number of podcasts we'll be on. We'll do a solo podcast. We're fucking geriatric. We'll do it beside one of our graves. There'll be at least
Jordan died from scurvy last year. Who got scurvy?
Who got scurvy?
I know who got scurvy.
James Blunt. James Blunt got scurvy. Yeah.
He had an all meat diet and got scurvy.
Like,
because that's what's gonna happen when you don't eat any fruit or veg.
Just fucking. I don't want any vegetables.
Pretty sure Joe Rogan did that, and he got like abs.
Yeah, but, like,
he got abs instead of scurvy.
Yeah. But yeah, like back to the Coens.
I can't express this enough for anyone who hasn't seen Burn After Reading. Everything I just said it ruins absolutely nothing.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like it is
so
crazy
much.
from start to finish in the best way. It's
Yeah,
so
and like,
entertaining.
it's the same as like Fargo. I mean, I had an idea of what that movie was about going in.
Yeah.
And then, it's nothing like when I finished it, I was like, that is nothing like what I expected it to be.
But it's kind of like Paddington, in a sense. Like it's literally like woman wants a boob job.
Yeah, it's like
Oh Brother Where Art There's people looking for treasure.
Yeah, basic story that
basic storyline that just extrapolates because of the characters involved. It's not even.
The Coens are very much about. It's not about the destination; it's the journey. That's their whole thing. You know what I mean? It's like doesn't matter what conclusion we come to, you're just going to enjoy the ride. And I think. The only reason that I used to think that they weren't good at ending movies. I've since kind of changed my opinion.
I couldn't agree with you less. I think that the way they end films, except for Oh Brother Where Art Thou, because I thought that started a lot stronger than it ended.
But I felt that was wrapped in a nice package.
It was, but it kind
their other films.
it was wrapped in a nice package and kind of like it's wrapped in a nice package.
Yeah.
But like, say for example, Intolerable Cruelty, which is a film that I watched recently, that started off really badly really badly, and actually ended quite strongly and brought me back.
Yeah, no, I just felt that it was like they didn't know how to end films sometimes. Like with Fargo, when I first saw that, I was like, you didn't know how to end this movie. The Big Lebowski, I felt they didn't know how to end that film.
Yeah, I wouldn't
but I actually think there was
that,
more intention to it than I originally thought.
Burn After Reading ends very well.
The reason I believe that was because apparently they had started writing the Hudsucker Proxy, right? Halfway through the Hudsucker Proxy, they started writing Fargo. Without finishing the Hudsucker Proxy, halfway through writing Fargo, they started writing The Big Lebowski. Then they finished Lebowski, went back, finished Fargo, and then went back. Finished the Hudsucker
They've got that
Proxy.
fucking writer's curse where it's like they can't finish anything, but they can start whatever they want. So I feel like that's probably like
a big factor to why the film.
Like No Country for Old Men probably and Burn After Reading are both very good ended movies. Like,
they're like.
But the other ones you can see, like even Fargo, like you can kind of see.
It didn't really end.
They don't know where they're going, but they have this great. It's the journey. You're right. You're bang on there. It's all about like the journey rather than like if you want a wrapped up meal, go fucking watch Rush or something like. I love Rush. I watched them fucking car movie Le Mans '66 again on
again.
Yeah, man, you hate that film. I think it's banging.
I just don't.
Well, I do get you what you mean about Christian Bale.
What do we do?
H-I-P-P-Y. But apparently that's what Ken Miles was like. Apparently that's what Ken
but at the same time, it's kind of
fucked over so bad, man. But that's like a lovely little like like a lovely little wrapped little package or whatever. Like you get everything. Like the end is really nice and whatever. Like
whereas like the Coens, it's like.
You know what you're getting when you jump into a Coen Brothers movie.
Well, they've done like every genre as well. They have a thing for westerns clearly, and that's why like one of the reasons
I wonder
why
where they're from. That in terms of like.
Well, actually, I have a funny story about the two of them. So, Joel and Ethan Coen, like they've been going around for years. They're extremely popular directors. They obviously what was the name they used to edit the movies under? They used to edit it under a pseudonym because. So originally, if you actually look back in their
they're
films,
from Minnesota.
Well, that makes so much sense. There
you go.
Originally in their films, one of them would get a director's credit and one of them would get a producer's credit because the guild of directors
I remember that,
used to allow two people to get a credit. So if you watch their earlier ones, it'll be like directed by Ethan Coen or directed by Joel.
Like in Barton
when they
Fink,
both,
Joel Coen directed it, and then
Ethan
Coen is under director, but it's uncredited.
It's uncredited, exactly. And you'll get a lot of that with the early ones. Now it's like Joel and Ethan Coen both directed it, and then they edited them under a pseudonym, and they actually won the Oscar for editing for No Country for Old Men under the pseudonym, and they went up and they accepted it as themselves, obviously. But
that's gas.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? But another funny story I heard about them was, do you remember the Garfield movies? Those terrible films with Bill Murray in them. So everyone was like so shocked that
whether or not they're terrible. Garfield might go to London.
But anyway,
whatever.
Bill Murray was like really like hard to get to sign on to that. And they couldn't believe they got him because he's really picky about his movies and stuff. It's because the director of the Garfield movie's name was Joel Cohen. Cohen, and he fully thought it was one of the Coen brothers. God. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll sign up to it.
Garfield Coen.
Do a Coen Brothers Garfield. I'm up for that.
You would be like 100%.
The lasagna would have like a treasure map in it or something like.
I love that thing, and it's like Garfield goes to the vet, and it's like, your cat is hundreds of pounds
Pounds
overweight.
overweight.
He likes lasagna.
Lasagna.
You cannot feed him lasagna every day. But he hates Monday. He's going to die, John.
John's such a fucking simp.
Push over.
Horrible owner, like this obese cat.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Garfield. I've always hated Garfield.
But yeah, I think that they've definitely gotten across like every genre and kind of created a genre of their own. This is another kind of selection of those directors that I talk about. I mentioned this about Martin McDonagh last week. I feel like we have to protect these directors.
Yeah.
They're just the types of directors that make incredible films that are entertaining. And you have to appreciate that at every turn because the Academy is so unbelievably douchey
And
when
rigid
it comes to
and
who they promote and who they give Oscars to and it's awful. But like the likes of the Coen Brothers, the likes of Martin McDonagh, the likes of Wes Anderson, the likes of Tarantino, they're all directors that we need to protect.
100%.
We need to go to their films.
And it's like when a Coen Brothers movie comes out, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You will never, no matter how much you watch the trailers or read about them, when you go see them, they are completely different to what you expect. And that's what I love that. I love having a director that is going to come out with something that it'll just completely sideswipe you.
And that you can't put it into a genre.
No, exactly,
which is a really important thing about a good film. And you know, one thing that I've noticed in all these directors when researching them or whatever is that they're all huge Stanley Kubrick fans.
Yeah.
Who also was snubbed by the Oscars. I mean, all of the best directors were snubbed by Oscars. Now, the Coen Brothers weren't, but that's pretty much solely for No Country for Old Men.
That brings on to a good point because, like, the Coens, I would call them mainstream. I think they are mainstream popular directors.
My dad knows about them, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, you'd only seen Lebowski this week, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
But you'd heard about it. Everyone knows.
Oh yeah. Everyone knows about
the Dude.
Yeah, and like that's like your opinion man.
Like these are like pop culture references. So, but yet their films are so not mainstream at all.
No, they really aren't.
Completely go against the grain, and I love that about them. Their style of directing, their style of storytelling, their use of characters, like the way they portray, like in Fargo. My favorite character is William H. Macy's character as the nerdy dad husband who pays to get his wife.
Yeah, he's fucking great.
Pays to get his wife kidnapped, and he's this guy who's like,
he's a car salesman.
He's a car, and it's so funny because it's like his resentment has grown so much for his wife, but he's such a little spineless dork. Instead of trying to divorce her or get away from her, he thinks hiring two kidnappers to like take her away.
That's like such an Irish thing, though. Irish people are so like that. It's just it's the fucking repression that we're like generations of fucking bowing down to Catholicism, and it's just like, oh, is your haircut all right? Yeah, absolutely.
Perfectly
Go
fine.
home. You're like, fuck.
You're crying like.
It's such an Irish thing. Like
Can we take all your raw materials in your language?
Why not?
Go on. No, but they do. They have such a wide range, and it's incredible how many films that like they've approached, and even if they're not, because they are hit and miss directors.
100%.
I have to say, compared to other huge outliers, they are hit and miss directors. But you got to applaud them for it because they always
take
approach
chances.
things. Like that film I was watching, Intolerable Cruelty, is kind of meant to be an out and out comedy. Like you are supposed to be able to put that into a genre of comedy, and I mean in the blurb it's a comedy. But that being said, the Coen Brothers doing the comedy, it means that it's not necessarily funny enough or like absurd enough to be a comedy, whereas it's too much of a comedy to be a good Coen Brothers film.
Yeah, I get.
You know what I'm saying?
I do get you.
Like the Coen Brothers have such a style that you couldn't, like the Big Lebowski is hilarious, but you'd never call it a comedy.
No, because it's not really. Like,
it's not.
It's kind of just a story.
Fargo is hilarious, but you couldn't call it a comedy. But at the same, so when they approach to do a comedy, it comes out very strange and very weird. But now, to be fair, it is a very like funny kind of interesting story. Essentially, what it is it's about a divorce lawyer, George Clooney, a divorce lawyer, and Catherine Zeta-Jones is a gold digger, and she gets with all these older men and then divorces them, looking for their fortune. And she first tries it and sets her husband up, and then George Clooney wins the battle for her husband. And so she goes out of her way to trick George Clooney into marrying her.
Oh my god!
And divorcing him. But then at the end, there's a massive twist. Everything happens. It really unfolds in a massive Coen Brothers style.
Yeah.
Where like nothing goes the way of anyone. but then it all kind of gets tied up in a very nice way, and it's not a bad film by any means.
Let me say this about twists, right? Do you remember when M. Night Shyamalan first came out and everyone was like, he's the master of the twist, and that became his thing? The Coens are so much better at twists.
Yeah.
They are so much better. And it's not, they're not like, you don't go to a Coen Brothers film for the twist.
No.
But when they do put in a twist, you're like, oh shit, that's such a good twist.
You know what I think it is that M. Night Shyamalan, I think the twists, I reckon if you asked any like major director or
They'd
major
never put a twist in your movie.
Never put a twist in your film.
Yeah, it's
and I feel like people really look at that as like, oh wow, they did a twist, like.
But it can also be so cliched.
But it is a lot of it is cliche. It's basically
and dumb.
It's basically plan to payoff, which is like the most standard form of filmmaking ever.
And also when the twist is dumb.
It is.
You're like, oh
it's really
my
bad.
God.
A twist shouldn't be like the central point of your film.
No.
But
Now,
I feel like in writing school.
Yeah. Now, obviously, in The Sixth Sense, it works. In
it's
The
great.
Usual Suspects, it works. But like, you can't really be like depending on a twist.
Yeah, I feel like they just tell you not to do that because it was all a dream.
It's not
to pull it off. It
that.
just has to be a really good
fucking
writing. Like,
whoa, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
it has to. It's like doing a backflip. If you don't fucking land it, you're breaking your neck.
Yeah.
Well, that exactly. Yeah, that's it. That's
fair.
Okay, so what time are we at now? Are we coming up to?
We're about an hour 20.
Yeah. So to finish up, then, if you're going to recommend 3 Coen Brothers movies to your average viewer, what are you going with, Jack?
I'm going with No Country for Old Men, Fargo, and Burn After Reading.
Burn After Reading. Okay.
Not the Big Lebowski.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I have a special place in my heart for Burn After Reading, and obviously the other 2 are goats. So, goat status.
I would literally be. It would be yours, but instead of Fargo, it's the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Yeah. Spot on. No Country for Old Men. It is like the diamond of their thing. And I'm probably actually going to go with Fargo, I think. I just love Fargo as well. I love Lebowski too. For me, it's always those two. There's something about those two always competing with each other. But I just think Fargo just edges it out. I love all the characters in it. I love Steve Buscemi. I love Frances McDormand. I love Peter Stormare in it.
You fucking love Burn After Reading. Why did you not watch it?
I know. That was
Now, to be fair to us, we did have a lot of watching to do for this week.
Yeah.
We recorded it earlier than we usually do, just down to fucking time. But
I think between 3 of us, we covered a lot of bases.
We covered a lot, yeah.
But individually, there's some of us that are missing. Like I've seen Miller's Crossing. Like that's such a random one to see.
Yeah. I'm not watching it.
Intolerable cruelty.
Yeah,
and you both were like, "Don't watch Inside Llewyn Davis. Nothing happens."
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like I love Inside Llewyn Davis. I just went on a rant about it. Do not watch it. It's boring as hell.
You'll fucking hate that shit. Watch it on if you're like, I don't know.
If you just want to listen to a bit of
music.
When
the next lockdown comes.
Do you know what it's good for? If it's a bit cold and you're a bit bored, make yourself a nice cup of tea, light the fire, and stick on Inside Llewyn Davis. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
What I will say though is, like, this is for all of these films, is except for maybe Burn After Reading and The Big Lebowski, I'd kind of tell, or Fargo, I'd tell anyone to watch them with kind of like no expectation, like just enjoy it, because they're very enjoyable films. Yeah. But for the likes of No Country for Old Men, which is their best film, I don't even think that's arguably.
No,
definitely.
I think that's a clear cut.
Yeah,
like,
that's a clear cut.
Both in terms of like Academy
critic rating
and then also just audience rating.
I would say watch it, but don't expect what you're expecting. Like just and when the ending comes, accept it. Move forward with it. It's an excellent film.
Yeah.
There's no other room for like debate or opinion. If you didn't like it, sit on it. You will like it.
Absolutely. All right, I think
that's it. What podcast is this?
24.
All right, so for our 20, so that was our Coen Brothers podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. For our 25th, we are trying to work something out. It may happen, it may not happen. We will obviously you'll see next week essentially, but I'm not going to discuss what we're doing. It won't be one that you kind of have to catch up and listen to. It will hopefully just be like a nice fun podcast. But thanks again for listening. We will see you next week, guys. Follow us on our socials. Rate us wherever you listen to podcasts. It's a massive help. We can't express that enough. And see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week, guys.